Hello everybody, hi, my name's Claudia Lefebvre and I'm a nutritional therapist and eating psychology coach. And today we're going to be talking about blood pressure. Now I've just seen I've had a few internet connection problems, but I hope it's working okay tonight. So I'm delighted to be here, and tonight's actually very personal for me because I have been working on blood pressure issues for the last 20 years. So when I was in my early mid-20s, I was diagnosed with high blood pressure. And it was very random. It was just a routine check. I was going for having my blood pressure checked because I was on the contraceptive pill. There was no reason to suspect anything unusual. And I had all sorts of investigations done because it was way too high, and I was so young. So I had kidney scans, all sorts of investigations. We couldn't find anything. And to be honest, at that point in my life, I wasn't interested in health. I hadn't become interested. I consider myself still sleeping, and blood pressure for me has been my wake-up call. And it was like an alarm clock, and I suddenly woke up and discovered about the effects of caffeine on the body and alcohol and sugar, and I changed my lifestyle, I changed my diet and realized that I could control my nutrition, and I could get and that had a dramatic impact on my blood pressure, and I was able to get off medication. So I'd been put on basically what had been thought of as a life sentence of medication. But the truth is, I didn't feel well on blood pressure medication. And I was prepared to do anything to get off it, right? So I'm going to share with you all the nutrition strategies that I adopted that have got me off the blood pressure medication. Later on in my life, in my mid-30s, I had my children. I had two beautiful children within a very short time frame of each other, and that had a very, very negative impact on my blood pressure, and I'm going to tell you about that. And then that's where I discovered working around mindset and also exercise is so important for helping to control, hi Diana, helping to control blood pressure. But the reason I'm talking about blood pressure tonight is it is a collective issue, and where I am right now, hi Letty, where I am, I'm in Gibraltar. And recently the Gibraltar Health Authority have released some statistics that 15,000 people in Gibraltar have high blood pressure. Hi Lorraine. Now 15,000 people, that's actually about half the population. And in the UK, it depends which statistics you look at, but it's 1 in 3 or 1 in 4 adults in the UK have high blood pressure. So what's going on? And my curiosity was piqued. Why is it blood pressure seem to be so high, especially in Gibraltar? So of course there's diet and lifestyle. I mean, of course there's, processed foods are very high in sugar and salt and lead to obesity. Hi Ed. But that's not, hi Raja, but I think there's something else going on. And I have a theory, hi Gillian, about air pollution contamination. So when you live in a place that's close to, like for example, an oil refinery, you're going to have a lot of sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide in the air. And unfortunately, these contribute, it's now clear as day in all the scientific evidence, these contribute to blood pressure, heart attacks and strokes. And it's an issue that I think we all need to become more aware of. So and like I said earlier, blood pressure is a wake-up call, and it's not something to be passive about. Oh, this is happening to me. Oh, take medication and that will control it. It's really about waking up and becoming active. So if you're living in a place where you think pollution might be a factor for you, it might be impacting on your health and your blood pressure, I recommend a green smoothie every day and maybe taking some chlorella. chlorella in its own right, it's a sea algae. It's widely taken in Japan. It's taken as commonly as vitamin C is here. In Japan, if you're feeling a bit under the weather, the first thing you do is take chlorella. And chlorella cleans your system, and it helps remove contaminants from your body. So it's a good strategy. It's very difficult to be in an unpolluted and non-polluted place. So that's my number one strategy for dealing with the pollution, is take some chlorella. And chlorella in its own right can reduce mild to moderate hypertension, blood pressure. So another factor that's very interesting, that has only in the last couple of years come to light, is the connection with vitamin D. So low vitamin D can cause there's an association between low vitamin D and high blood pressure. Now, whether you're living in the sun in Gibraltar or under porridge sky maybe in the UK, it makes no difference. You've still got to test your vitamin D levels, because I am shocked and amazed at how many people aren't necessarily, even though you've got the sun exposure, you're not necessarily getting the conversion happening in your body. So it's always worth, with vitamin D, testing, and you wouldn't supplement without testing to make sure that you're low first. Because vitamin D is a fat storage hormone. Hi, Carol. Vitamin D is fat storage hormone, so you don't want to be accumulating high levels if you're not low in the first place. So check your vitamin D levels, look into the pollution, or at least take some chlorella in a green juice. Now, I wanted to share a little bit more about my story. So, like I said at the beginning, I know quite a few of you have just joined now. So, hi, Karen. So I have been looking into blood pressure for the last 20 years. It has been my wake-up call. My mid-20s, I was diagnosed with high blood pressure at a routine check when I was taking the oral contraceptive, and it was just a standard check. It came as a little bit of a shock, and had all sorts of investigations. Nothing. We couldn't find any underlying root cause. There was no explanation. But I put certain nutritional strategies in place, and these reduced my blood pressure, and I was able to come off the medication completely. And here's what I did. Number one, I cut out processed foods, and as much as possible made things from scratch, because then you're in control of how much salt and sugar and everything else is in the food that you're eating. So salt is a big one. Watch out for the hidden salts. Cut down on salts, and start to learn about sodium-potassium ratio, because it's really about, it's the ratio that's so important. So we want to be reducing the table salt and adding in more minerals, and especially potassium, getting the electrolyte balance right. Another thing I did was bring in the lovely omega fish oils, okay? They keep your cell membranes lovely and flexible and soft, which help with cell-to-cell communication. But when you have got high blood pressure, the last thing you want is to create stiffness in the arteries. Okay, so you want to have lovely, soft, flexible arteries, and the fish oils, not only do they reduce the blood pressure, but they help the arteries dilate. They prevent them getting clogged up, because they support the good cholesterol production and help lower the LDL, the bad cholesterol. Other things that I did, I had lots of garlic. You can take garlic as a supplement if you don't want the garlic breath. Celery. So celery sticks. They say to reduce your blood pressure that you need to eat 6 celery sticks a day. Obviously that's quite a lot, and you'll be chomping away like a rabbit. So what I do is I juice celery. Not every day, but it's quite intense, I have to say, as a juice, but it's very cleansing and very, very good for blood pressure. And I've talked about chlorella. Another thing that's very helpful for reducing your blood pressure is pomegranate juice. And pomegranates are just coming into season now. So it's a lovely time to be going out and getting some and adding them into your salads, but also juicing them. And it's very, very helpful. Magnesium as well is another thing that, sorry, I don't know if you can hear the plane taking off there, but magnesium is great for helping the muscles relax and to help with the arteries, the health of the arteries and the heart in general. So what happened was I controlled my blood pressure perfectly from my nutrition, and then I got pregnant. And in my first pregnancy, I had to go back onto blood pressure medication. And then my little girl was born, and 3 months later I discovered I was pregnant again. And my body had not had a chance to recover. And my blood pressure was very, very uncontrolled in my second pregnancy. I was put on bed rest. It was very serious. I was on such a cocktail of medication, and it was quite frightening. I remember after my baby was born, and having him lying in my arms and having all these doctors standing around my bed, because everyone just assumed, hi Christine, everyone assumed that once the baby had been born, that the blood pressure would just come down, and it wasn't. And they were putting more and more things into the IV drip, trying to get the blood pressure down. And then what happened? And then I still didn't manage to get a grip on my blood pressure for a good couple of years after that. And in fact, when my kids were 1 and 2 years old and we moved out to Spain, we left London, we moved to Spain, and I went to a doctor in Spain, and the doctor said to me, I was on medication at that point, and the doctor said to me, you could have a heart attack or a stroke at any moment. Your blood pressure is so high, this could happen. And obviously that was terrifying for me. I didn't feel well on the medication, and I was in a state of total anxiety at the idea of possibly leaving these tiny little children. And I just knew that I would do whatever it takes to bring my blood pressure down, and to try and do it as naturally as possible, because like I said, I just didn't feel well on the medication. I had huge brain fog. I remember my ankles were, massive with swelling and inflammation because of, different combinations of medication. And so slowly, the first thing was I was following the nutrition, but I think what was happening was my anxiety was so intense that I was completely overriding the benefits. So I'm sure you've heard of white coat syndrome. Hi, Karen. I was speaking at a men's health seminar a couple of weeks ago, and the MC put the microphone to my mouth, and he said, Claudia, explain to the audience what white coat syndrome is. And I thought, oh my God, if you only knew how much I understand white coat syndrome. But white coat syndrome is, psychologically you get nervous about having your blood pressure taken. So of course it's going to spike straight high, go crazy, skyrocket. And that's often why they'll put a 24-hour cuff. Maybe you've had that, where you're just wearing it and it automatically takes your blood pressure reading every half hour or so. And that's to try and see what happens without the white coat syndrome, but also to check that you're a dipper at night, so that your blood pressure is at least dipping in the night, so that your arteries are having some time without the pressure build-up. So it was at this point when I realized, with the anxiety taking over, I had to get this under control, and I had to address this. And so what I did a lot of work on myself, and I know I sit here every fortnight, and it comes across that I'm really sorted, and I am really sorted, but only because I have done so much work on myself. The anxiety was so much. I was having a lot of tingling on my face, and whenever that happened, I thought, oh my gosh, here's the stroke coming. So you can see the place, you can see how far I've come, and this is where I've come from, rock bottom. And I've basically had to overcome my fear of death. This blood pressure, this second major blood pressure episode in my life was my second awakening, if you like. The first awakening, I got into nutrition. The second awakening, it became a more spiritual experience for me, because I realized that everyone's going to go when it's their time. And so relax, because I just had to have faith that it wasn't my time yet. And I learned that by doing yoga and meditation, you can actually control, you can prevent the white coat syndrome from happening, and you can bring your blood pressure back under control. So I have developed a meditation that I use to bring my blood pressure down. And I'm delighted to share it with you. I'll just explain it a little bit. So what I do is I close my eyes, take a few deep breaths, take a moment to listen to the sounds outside. Maybe there's a motorbike whizzing by, or maybe there's some birds tweeting. And then when you're ready, you just go into your body. You just breathe in and feel what's going on in your body. And I imagine a torch. So you might, at the beginning, want to do it so you'll imagine like you're holding a torch. Sorry, I'm just going to have a quick. So you close your eyes and you imagine you're holding a torch over your forehead. And as you close your eyes, you can feel the brightness and the heat from the torch. Okay, so it's a practice and it takes time. But what you do is you start by then at your feet, and you feel the torch moving up your legs. And as you do, you feel the heat on the surface of your skin. And when you've mastered that, then you can go to the next level, which is where I imagine I'm holding the torch over my heart. And I go right in to my arteries, and I dilate and relax my arteries. Now, I know that sounds a bit wacky, and honestly, I wasn't into any of this stuff before what I'll call my second blood pressure awakening, but honestly, it has changed my life. And I'm delighted to share this meditation with you. If you would like to PM me, if you share my page, like my page and share this post and send me a PM, I will record a meditation that I will email or send to you. It will have lovely relaxing music in the background. I'll do it as a proper meditation, and try it out for yourselves. But the thing with meditation is it's a practice. The more you do it, the easier it becomes, and the less distracted you are when you're doing it. But I have to say, with this technique, I can be sitting in the doctor's waiting room. It looks like I'm just closing my eyes, but really I'm very busy working and completely relaxing my body and bringing my blood pressure right down. Hello, Polly. Another thing that I found so helpful during this time was exercise. Now, when my blood pressure was so dangerously high, there's a temptation just to sit on the sofa and not move, because you don't want to risk this heart attack or stroke happening. But this is where I met Jojo France in Spain, this amazing personal trainer who I promise you will meet. She will come to one of my Facebook lives. But we did all sorts of experimentation together. So basically, we take my blood pressure as soon as I went into the gym. And sometimes it was way too high to train. So what we would do, we'd just walk around the block, have a laugh, have a giggle, walk around the block, and take the blood pressure again. And it always, without fail, came down. Other times, the blood pressure was sort of borderline. It was okay. So that meant I could get on the get on the treadmill and just do a nice walk, brisk walk, or I could get on the bicycle, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, take the blood pressure again. Polly's just telling me seeing a freeze frame. Yeah, I've been having some connection problems. Hopefully this is okay. So the exercise, and you know what I would really encourage you to do is to experiment for yourself and find out what works for you, and see blood pressure as a wake-up call. Okay, don't hit the snooze. This is your alarm going off, and it's your opportunity. Your body is calling you to make changes. And so often when you have your, you know, a high blood pressure reading or a moderate blood pressure reading, the doctor will say to you, look, this is the first time this has happened. I'll give you some time before we look into medication to make some lifestyle changes. And I want you to seize it and grab it, because this is your time. And honestly, it can be life-changing and improve your health in so many ways, more than just blood pressure. You know, you'll have more energy, you'll have more vitality, you'll feel stronger immunity. You know, all sorts of niggles, digestive problems will clear up as well. So I highly recommend it. But guys, I know there's been some connection problems. So I'm just probably going to finish this now, and then I'll play it back. But what I'm going to do in 2 weeks' time, I have Dr. Shireen Sala coming. So if you have questions about blood pressure, she is the very person to ask. If you want to talk about your medications, if you want to talk about the process of coming off medications, because certainly what I found is I was making changes. I would like stand up and then suddenly get very dizzy and think, oh, right, it's time to go back to the doctor. And, you know, and obviously I'd be measuring it at home as well. And then you could be going back and in agreement and in collaboration, always in collaboration with your doctor, you can start to reduce the dosage of what was thought, you know, a life sentence doesn't have to be, but it always needs to be in collaboration with your doctor. So guys, I'm going to leave you there. I hope it's been a very helpful session. I want these sessions to be of service and interesting. So please give me your feedback. Oh, thanks, Amber. I'm delighted to share all this information. You know, this is my chance to give back to you all for free. So I'm delighted. Please let me know what topics you'd like to cover, and see you very soon. Okay, bye.